How do you talk to an addict who has relapsed? It can be hard to know what to do. I'm going to walk you through some strategies and help you be effective talking to them. What you do and what you say to an addict after they have relapsed really will help them or hurt them in their recovery process. So it's important for you to understand how to approach it. Now, one thing that I want you to understand before I talk about what you can do is that everybody's different. So when we talk about an addict, not every addict is the same person. So everybody's different and every person responds different to relapses. Some people want to talk openly about what happened in their relapse. Some people want to shut down and avoid the conversation altogether. Some people act angry and get defensive and attacking. All of these things are tricky to navigate and understand. So listen through the end of this video because I'm going to give you the strategies to help navigate however they respond. First off, I want to lay the groundwork for you about how to be effective. So there's some things that you need in place in order to be effective with an addict. The first thing that you need is to understand boundaries. So understand where they stop and you begin. Understand what they're accountable for and what you're accountable for. And don't take on things that you're not accountable for. When we talk about enabling and codependency, these words are kind of dying in the recovery community. But what those things mean is that don't take on the consequences for them. An addict will want you to do that because they don't want to fully feel or experience what the consequences are. It's important for the addict to feel the consequences of the relapse. So you don't minimize it, you don't fix it for them, but you hand it back over to them. Now, as you are boundaried and you give the accountability back to them, it's important that they feel like you love them, that you're there for them. So as you hold them accountable, give it back to them, they still need to know that you have a relationship. So another thing that you can do is have a relationship outside of just talking about addiction. Oftentimes with spouses or sons or daughters who are addicted to things, that starts to consume the relationship. It's the only thing that you talk about. It's the only thing that you bring up when you're checking in with them. Make sure that you have other things that you're connected to with them in that relationship that will help build rapport so that you can talk to them in the hard times right after relapse. Trust is critical. Now, having trust with an addict can be hard because they might be pushing away from you and they might even be accusing you of being an untrustworthy person. But if you know that you're an integrous person who shows up honestly and consistently, then you're a safe person to talk to, even in the most difficult times, the times after a relapse. Let's talk about the do's and the don'ts when talking to an addict after relapse. So first, let's go over the don'ts. The first thing that's not helpful is to make it about you. Now, there's a couple ways that you can see it becoming about you. First off, taking it way personally, thinking that you caused the relapse or that you should have stopped it in some way. That makes it all about you. So don't make it about you. The other thing is, like I was saying earlier, not taking the consequences on of their relapse. It's not yours to take on. The next thing goes right along with that. Don't try to fix it for them. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that what a loved one does? Doesn't a loved one step in and fix it and make it all right? Actually, not. You might want to fix it because you feel like they're in some pain or discomfort. But the reality is you're uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable. So you're trying to fix it. Let's make it all right. Let me do things to fix it for you. It's the addict's opportunity to learn from the consequences. They need to fix this. They need to figure out what to do. So don't fix it for them. The next thing is do not play the victim. An addict most likely is already experiencing a lot of shame. They feel bad about what they've done. When you wallow in a victim stance and you're trying to get some sympathy from them or from others about how hard your life is because they relapsed, it's not helpful for them. It's not going to help them feel safe about talking to you about their relapse. Now, I do want to say a little caveat here. There's different types of relapse and there's different types of addiction. If a food addict relapses and eats a bunch of sugar, it's easy for the partner to be safe and talk to them about how difficult that might be for them. If a sex addict relapses and they go betray their partner, betray their spouse by acting out with a prostitute, then it's a little bit different situation when you go and talk to that person about their relapse, because there's a relational piece to it with betrayal trauma where it's a little more complex to have discussions about the relapse, because now you're talking about the relationship as well. If a drug addict relapses, it does affect the relationship, but that betrayal piece is a little bit different than sexual addiction relapse. The next thing not to do is to persecute them. And that's just telling them how horrible they are. It's attacking them, calling them names, getting aggressive with them. Don't persecute them. It's not helpful in that moment when they're already feeling really bad about what they've done. And the last thing is don't caretake or rescue. What that means is don't tell them everything's okay when it's not. It might not be okay. Let them know that it's not okay and you realize that, but you're there for them, rather than try to fix it and caretake for them. Now I'm going to go over what to do. But before I do, if you have any comments about what you've done that's been effective in talking to an addict about their relapse, please comment below and also subscribe to my channel. First off, have a tone of compassion and love. So show up with compassion. Now, I get it. This can be a lot easier said than done. If their relapse has really affected your life, if this is betrayal trauma, or they stole money from you, it can be really hard to show up in compassion. It can be really difficult to show up loving in that moment. But it's going to be hard to have a conversation with them if they don't feel like you love them. So first and foremost, regulate your own emotions so that you can show up in love and compassion for them. That doesn't mean that they're going to get away with what they're doing. And it doesn't mean that there's not going to be accountability for them. Tough love is often mistaken for just being tough, for being a hard A and being straight up with somebody. But you can be tough, you can be loving at the same time. You can be soft and gentle with somebody and firm and bold at the same time. So the next thing to do is to be honest. While you're being compassionate, be honest with them about how this has affected your life and what it's like for you, so that they can understand the real consequences of that relapse for you. Don't shy away from it because you're worried that they're going to go relapse again if you're honest with them. Don't shy away from it because you want to control their addiction in some way, but be willing to step into your honest truth about how you're feeling about that relapse. The next thing, if they're open and they're talking to you and they're wanting to get support, then discuss a plan of growth. You want them to get maximum return out of their relapse. And if they're talking to you, then that's an opportunity for both of you to explore how can they shift so that this doesn't happen again. So discuss a plan of change, a plan to actually do something different. Do what's called a relapse autopsy with them. I do this all the time with my clients where they break down their relapse. They look at it very closely. They understand what their triggers are. They understand what tools they can use differently the next time and what tools they need to actually strengthen and work on in their recovery so that they don't fall back into relapse. So the next time they can actually instill those things. Remember, put their recovery back on them. You cannot work their recovery for them. When they've relapsed, then they need to be proactive in doing the things they need to do to get their recovery back on track. So talking to them, supporting them, loving them means that you're discussing things, you're learning from the relapse, you're growing together, but you're not taking on their recovery. Hand that back over to them. So the last one is to give recovery back. Talking to an addict, if they're willing to talk to you about their relapse, then reaffirm them with how awesome that is that they're being open about such a difficult thing. Be grateful that they're being open with you. Be grateful that they're being honest with you. If they're unwilling to talk to you, then be as safe as you can be so that they can. Now, if you're experiencing betrayal trauma and sex addiction has happened, then you need to know that it's okay to take some space and take some time for your own healing, your own safety, before you have to dive into fixing this with the addict. So it's okay for you to work your own recovery first. If you like this video, then I have another similar video that talks about what to do when a family member relapses. So check that out because I walk you through a process of communication that helps you work with them through their relapse.